Testing. Just got to do the old man test. Someone just verify that the audio is working. Please. Is the audio good, fellas? Someone confirm you could hear me. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button if you are not already. Smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And the New Jersey Devils have headed south to Washington, D.C. to take on the Capitals tonight, hoping to bounce back big after a very disappointing 4-2 loss at the hands of the Toronto Maple Leafs in the home opener a couple nights ago. And it was a stinker, guys. It was a stinker. A lot of you were a little reactionary regarding the performance. I, for one, am not getting too bothered by it. Obviously, there is a curse of the global series, as we talked about last time, and not to make excuses, but it is what it is. History was not on our side. Came back from the global series, laid an egg in the home opener, and I'm expecting a much better performance from the boys tonight. And early news coming out earlier today that, in fact, and a lot of you will be happy about this because a lot of you were ragging on him after last game, Andre Palat has been knocked down to the fourth line, and onto the third line will be Paul Cotter. You guys know how I feel about Paul Cotter. Absolute beast. Could do everything, has some crazy speed, beautiful hands, a nice finishing ability. And I think Keith liked what he saw in the little bit of time Cotter played on that third line in Prague in that second game with Palat out of the lineup. And so look for Cotter to stake his claim, guys. I told you guys I didn't think he was going to last on the fourth line that long, and I do believe you'll kind of see him all around for a while. But at some point, I do believe he will settle in on the third line, potentially higher, because I think his skill is just that. I'm sorry to say that. I do think his talents are going a bit wasted to utilize the fourth line. And while it was great, and I love that fourth line, that meat line of Lazar, Bastian, and Cotter, great fourth line, I think Cotter's skill has to be utilized a bit more on the third line higher, and then plug someone else in on the fourth line. I'm curious to see how Palat does in a fourth line role. Most expensive fourth liner in the league, by the way, but that's a story for a different day. Hoping for a big bounce back. Obviously, Markstrom wants to get back in there and show that the other game was a fluke. A lot of weird fluky goals against him. We had plenty of chances to clear the puck out of our own end, and we're just very sloppy, just overcommitting, and just kind of we were a little sleepwalking a little bit in our own end, especially. And they took it to us. And hopefully tonight we see a much different story and a much improved New Jersey Devils team. I think they're going to come out and try to set the tone early. I'm expecting a lot of that heavier, edgier, more violent right out of the gate. Brendan Dillon going up against some of his former teammates. We'll see who he's going to put through the wall. But we need this one. Curious how it's going to play out. Can the power play get going at a little bit of a hot streak, if you will? 1-5 the other night is not abysmal. Obviously, if you get one, that's better than nothing. But you would have liked to see two maybe in that scenario, especially when the game was really on the line. We were down 2 back-to-back power plays, did nothing with it, and then Tavares scored, and then it was all she wrote. So, power play, looking to see that kind of get on fire tonight. Obviously, big story out of Washington, Alexander Ovechkin, 40-some-odd goals short of the great one, Wayne Gretzky's goal record. He's going to be chasing that. I do believe he breaks it next year. I just can't see him doing it this year. I just think it's too many goals for Ovi at his old age now. But you never know, man. He gets on hot streaks, and he could score 8 goals in 5 games or something, 8 goals in 6 games, and do a couple of those throughout the season. So he's obviously looking for that, but I think he will break that next year. And what a story that's going to be, honestly, as he's getting closer to the Gretzky goal record. I think, the NHL at large is going to be getting a lot of attention because obviously Wayne Gretzky, considered by everyone the greatest hockey player of all time, owns all the records that most of them will probably never be broken. I mean, his total points will definitely never be broken, but once upon a time they said that his goals record was unbreakable as well, and here we are. Alexander Ovechkin in hot pursuit, and I think he's going to do it next year, barring a career-ending injury. I don't think he's going to stop until he gets it. And his shot is still lethal, even though he has a gray beard and a gray head of hair. When he's in his office in that circle, look out. The Ovi bombs are crazy. So tonight we got Ovechkin versus Kovechkin, and the boys get fun. Well, not let's say Saturday. I don't even know what day it is anymore. If you haven't seen it, go to the channel, check it out. From opening night, I have a ton of videos. I was filming my ass off. I got red carpet stuff. I got the behind the scenes when they're coming out of the locker room. I have some cool warm up footage, player intros, the laser light show that almost gave me an epileptic seizure. Tons of stuff from opening night. So if you haven't seen it, please head on over to the channel, check it out. There's a ton of sports as well where my camera where I'm practically touching guys' faces with it. All access, up close, VIP. You know how I do it. But let's see what you guys are talking in here. What's going on, Chase? Chase, how are you, sir? Mark, are you still in Italy, Mark? Traveling Devil's really living up to his name. My man was in Prague. Now he's in a beautiful villa somewhere in Italy, sending me the sweet, lake or ocean views, whatever the hell he was looking at. This beautiful terrace. And I'm just here in New Jersey eating hot dogs outside the Prudential Center, drinking an IPA like a jet. Amagi, what's up, man? Seeing Terrifier 3 tonight, so going to miss the game, but Let's Go Devils should be a dub for us against Caps of all people. Amagi, I don't even know what the hell Terrifier 3 is. I'm assuming it's some kind of horror film. I'm out of touch, bro. I don't even know what's in the movie theater. I couldn't even tell you guys the last time I went to the movie theater. I do miss going. I was never a huge movie guy, but I would go, 3 or 4 times a year to something I wanted to see, but I couldn't even tell you what's in the movies right now. The bounce back starts tonight. Let's hope so. Would love to see it. 3-1 would be pretty nice. 3-1 sounds way better than 2-2. I think we take this 4-2. I'll be happy with any win. I'm hoping for like a dominant. I like dominant performances where you take people's souls, but obviously that's not the easiest thing to do. In the NHL, obviously guys are trying and teams aren't just laying down and dying. But Great 8 versus the Greater 8. That's right. Ovechkin versus Kovechkin. This is a pay-per-view matchup right here. And shout out to Johnny Kovacevic, by the way. I mean, Johnny Kovacevic, acquired in the summer, Fitz steals him for a 4th rounder, pretty much penciled in to be a 7th or 8th defenseman. Luke goes down, Pesci goes down. Enter Johnny Kovacevic, the 6'5", 223-pound monster. And my man has 1 goal and 2 assists for 3 points through 3 games and a +3. Johnny Kovacevic, a violent gentleman. Love to see it. And he's another guy that's going to give the coaching staff a very difficult decision as to what to do when we are fully healthy. Unfortunately, because on the right side, I think Pesci's going to push him right out. But, I mean, this defensive depth, I can't speak about it enough. The defensive depth is stuff you dream of. Stuff you dream of. We have a plethora of guys we could throw in there and hopefully perform. Palermo, very nice. Resting guitar face. Let's go Devils. Hits and goals, baby. Love to see both hits and goals, and let's see some block shots too. Love to see the block shots. Hopefully we see a lot of hits tonight, despite the overall bad performance the other night against the Leafs. The Devils did finish with 31 hits. Love to see it. Last season, some of the recap shows I'm sitting there talking to, we had 9 hits, 8 hits, 10 hits. Single digits probably often. I think this year, I think all 3 games have been 20 plus, which is definitely a trademark of Sheldon Keefe. He's telling these guys, play the body and block those shots. Chico Tazo, not expecting a win tonight, to be honest. The Caps have kind of had the Devils number for a while, but I'm definitely expecting a better game than the other night and hopefully a point. What a defeatist mentality. Come on, Chico. Come on, man. We need 2 points. And I want to give the Caps 0. A regulation win. Stick figs. I have high expectations for this New Jersey Devils club today, as do I. I'm expecting to see the team that we saw in Prague, not the team we saw against the Maple Leafs. That was depressing. And we need a much better effort tonight, and I think we're going to get one. I don't see this team performing like that in back-to-back games. Ace, you got to explain that scheduled video. Oh, I didn't even get to that. So hit the link I just posted in the description. Hit the link I just, or the chat rather. And the thumbnail and the title says it all. I bought New Jersey Devils Stanley Cup bling at Pawn Stars. Video premieres Monday night at 7 p.m. non-game night, so I figured good time to do it. We're playing the Utah Hockey Club at the Prudential Center in the afternoon at 1 o'clock. So 7 o'clock Monday night, mark your calendars, the premiere of how I bought New Jersey Devils Stanley Cup bling at Pawn Stars. I just dropped the link in the chat, and now I don't see it. Oh, it's there. It's there. Yeah, check that out. I put it in the chat. You could click on it, and it's going to be a good one. That's a project I've had cooking up for a while. Again, guys, I have tons of ambitions, ideas, plans, and a lot of them are kind of, on the stove, so to speak, at once. And some things take very long to kind of fully come full circle, and it takes some time. But I have tons of crazy stuff in the works that I think you guys will find interesting. Let me just go back up here. Almost secured restaurant ledge seats for Monday, 85 each, plus 50 of ticket credit. Wowza, but I got dinner plans that evening. Amagi, you're a busy dude, man. This guy's going to 70% of the games. He's going to see Terrifier 3, whatever the hell that is. He's got dinner plans. Can't make the game. Look at him. Enjoy your youth, bro. One day you're going to be old like me, and you're going to be like, you're doing all these things like, should do this, do that, and you're going to be like, let's just stay home. Taylor Coat, I got section 19 on Monday for StubHub for $80. Very nice. Resting Guitar Face. If you could pick one area of improvement from the Leafs game, what would you pick? Oof. I guess, just being overall tighter and more aware in our own end. I mean, all of those goals could have been prevented, but it was just like missed poke checks or guys just getting lazy. There was that one where it popped off Markstrom's glove and everyone just kind of sitting around like, you guys got to attack the puck a little bit more and just snap out of it. Yeah, definitely. Overall, just awareness and better play in our own end. And if they take care of that, I mean, that's a huge variable right there. Salvatore, first 4-point game of the season. This needs to be a statement game. I agree. After the big expectations of most people, or at least myself, heading into the season, we came out like gangbusters in Prague. 2 big wins. A lot of people finally were on board, getting excited, and then those same people ran to the ledge after that home opener. But I think that's one you could just kind of chalk up to the Global Series curse. 5 days in between games, we move on, and hope to see a much better effort tonight. Let's go Devils. Let's kick some ass. Absolutely. What's defeatist about that? Obviously, I want the Devils to win, but they've struggled against the Caps for a while. I'm saying I'm not going to go full doomer if they lose tonight. To be honest, I'm not going to go full doomer unless we lose like 3 or 4 games, 4 or 5, something like that. And even then, guys, I don't start getting really amped up until the new year easily. And usually, that February mark, you don't win the cup in October in game 4. So I will not be full doomer if they lose, but I would like to see a win, and I'm expecting a win. This team is much better than the team we had last year. New goalie, new defense, especially. There's no reason why, even with them having our number for a while, that's great. They had the number of a loser club that we no longer are. And in terms of that, I just want to say something else too that I forgot to mention the other night. Check out my video. Let me put the link in there. The team seems to be, there's more of a loose. I don't know how to describe it, but the overall demeanor of the team, they seem a little bit closer and they seem a little more. I don't know what the term would be, but if you see this video, you'll see. I just put it in there. I was obviously took this video myself. This was when they came out of the locker room the other night before they hit the ice for warmups. And the guys are all BSing with each other. Cotter has like 27 different handshakes with people. They got the hand pokes, the up, the down. He's got all the handshakes with everybody. They all seem to be having fun before they hit the ice. It wasn't always like that. And yeah, there was always a couple of guys that had little things like that. But the team seems that they've become much closer, in my opinion, from what I've witnessed, from last year. It seems like a very different overall kind of mentality, and things like that go a long way in terms of on ice success. But just from the little bit I've seen, behind the scenes, the team definitely seems different and has a different kind of swagger to them than the 23-24 disappointing New Jersey Devils, in my opinion. And if you check out that video, you'll kind of, I just dropped that one in the chat. You'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. The Caps are built to get Ovi's goals. They failed into the playoffs last year. We'll take them out tonight. I mean, wow, they were quite the mercenary for the Rangers, right? Oh my God, they were one of the worst teams, I believe, statistically, to ever make the playoffs, and they certainly looked like it. While the Rangers just handled them. That was almost the first round bye for the New York Rangers. Honestly, it really was. They just did not show up in that playoff series. But I don't think anyone had high hopes. Honestly, the Rangers were just a much better team. I feel you, Chico, and I hope you're wrong, but the Caps did have an underrated offseason. I mean, at this point, it does seem like the Capitals are just all about, the Gretzky goal record. Anything else is gravy. But we'll see tonight. We will see tonight. Guys, if you like the New Jersey Devils winning the Stanley Cup, that's only going to happen if you hit subscribe, smash that like button, and share with a friend. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stick Pigs. Now that could change the greatly increased physicality the Devils have now, but that's yet to be seen. I mean, Chico, I would disagree with you. I guess you're talking about the change, not the physicality. Yeah, the physicality is definitely there. How that's going to, play out for the remainder of the season and into the playoffs, I believe it's going to be a big difference. I believe it's going to be a very big difference. And like someone said, the first 4-point game, we're gonna see how it goes. But I'm sure the boys are very anxious or excited to get back out there after the stinker, and I'm sure let them have it behind closed doors regarding that unacceptable performance the other night, because that was just quite a deflating performance for a home opener. Which beverage is going to be the sponsor of today's post game? Any new cocktail creations? I'm not sure yet. I haven't did that yet, but I will tell you the sponsor of the pre-pregame, Dirty Devil Vodka, the official vodka of Martin Brodeur, part owner of Dirty Devil Vodka. Great guys over there. Great vodka. Check it out. Dirty Devil Vodka. I'll put the link somewhere for you guys to check that out where it's sold near you. Delicious vodka from the great Martin Brodeur. Let's hope Utah can put NY Rangers in their place. Yeah, I always like to see the Rangers lose. And I will say, I did see some clips of the Utah Hockey Club home opener. Man, they had a crowd. What a crowd. It looked like it was an electric atmosphere. Salt Lake City, I believe, enjoying their NHL hockey that they basically stole from Arizona, but Arizona was that whole situation was just a travesty. But glad the people in Utah are reaping the benefits, and now they have a hockey team of their own. But that looked awesome. I would definitely like to check out a game there at some point. The third, fourth lines killed us other night. Pick was dancing in front of Markey all night. They will come out more determined. Yeah, I'm not putting too much stock into the third game of the season after a global series with all that travel and 5 days in between games. Unfortunately, again, not to make excuses, but reality is reality. And I think we're going to see a much more complete performance from the boys tonight. If they can get PLD to click, they're going to be really annoying as a team. Yeah. How did he do last year? I just want to see he's kind of been all over the place. Yeah, I mean, he's still Pierre-Luc Dubois, aka PLD. Yeah, he had back-to-back 60-point seasons in 21, 22, and 22, 23, and then he had 40 last year on the Kings. There was some people I feel like over the summer that wanted the Devils, or whenever that was. People wanted the Devils to inquire on him, but I don't know. I'm skittish on, when you hear certain stories, I don't know, but it's interesting to see. I mean, I'm sure Capitals fans were excited to get him. That could be an acquisition that works out for them. It's so weird checking Twitter and seeing hockey club at Rangers. Like, isn't choosing the name the second thing you do? I was a little surprised they decided to go into the season without a name, honestly. I guess, you want to get it right, but also I just feel like I like the colors of their team, but like I don't know. Utah Hockey Club just isn't doing it for me. I think it's pretty lame. I mean, not having to play looking over your shoulder all the time and having some muscle backing you up probably does raise the spirits a bit. Nah, for sure. I mean, listen, they knew that they were getting smacked around. Now they have, and there's some more vets too, right? Like Dylan's a vet, Markstrom's a vet. We got some true NHL veterans with experience and guys that have been on playoff runs. Mason, Cotter, and then like energetic locker room guys. Again, from the little bit I've witnessed myself and have heard from Keefe and other reports and interviews, they all seem like personable guys, and it seems like it could be that right mixture to really have the team clicking on and off the ice, and it's very important. They are more united than last year. You can see in interviews. I fully agree with that. I got that feeling before I saw the pregame locker room kind of hangout. And that just cemented it to me, just to see. And again, I just put that link for the video in the description. You could just see them interacting and how it just has a different feel and vibe to it, for sure. Rough system wasn't adaptable. The Caps and Canes used to shut down the center, and that would be that. Now with Keefe, I wonder if the Devils just barrel right through it. I think you're going to see, under Keefe, I think there's going to be some times where you see guys chip pucks in and get in on that forecheck, as opposed to maybe trying to make the fancy play or try to weave through guys. I mean, obviously you're going to see some certain players still trying to play that game, but I think you're going to see sometimes where they're like, you know what, let's just get back to dump and chase and just flip it up the boards and go in and get it. And I think we're going to see goals scored all different kinds of ways from this club. I really do. The dump and chase, down low cycling, sustained pressure. You're going to see some of those, razzle dazzle type plays. You're going to see a little bit of everything. Some ugly goals, dirty goals, rebounds. They're capable of scoring in many ways, and you need that if you want to be a successful team. If Oshie is playing, not sure if he's hurt, he's going to score. He always does against us. Man, TJ Sochi. Whenever I hear Oshie, I'll always just think of TJ Sochi, and that I think it was 2000. Was it 2014? Or I think it was the 2014 Olympics, where it was U.S. versus Russia in one of the games, and in international play, the same guys could shoot as many times as you want. So basically, Kovalchuk kept going for Russia, and TJ Oshie kept going for America, and it was just an insane battle. Complete back and forth battle. Next Saturday night, Devils Caps at the Rock. Let's go. Who's going? What's that, the 19th? We can never beat this team, especially in their barn. It seems like it's been forever. Listen, everything comes to an end. And this New Jersey Devils club is not last year's New Jersey Devils club. I'm expecting a much better outing. Hopefully we come out just smashing people. Going to be very interesting to see how Cotter does on that third line. Palat dropped down to the fourth. My man Paul Cotter getting another look on the third line. And we're going to see. Palat as a fourth liner is definitely interesting, though. The team is still finding itself with new guys, and sooner or later, hopefully sooner, they mesh and start playing as four solid lines. Plus, the defense will work better together as the season progresses. Absolutely, we're still in the infancy of the Sheldon Keefe era, guys. I mean, this is regular season game 4 now with a brand new coach. I mean, give it some time. I didn't expect them to look as good as they did in the 2 games in Prague. Obviously, we saw a step backwards in that Toronto game, but I'm not putting too much stock into that because of the reasons I'd mentioned. The increased physicality comment was specifically regarding the Devils versus Cats matchup. So yeah. I got you, Chico. Has Tom Wilson been playing? I meant to look that up. I am curious to see when we see Curtis McDermott in the lineup. Yeah, it is interesting that I mean, it's only been 3 games, but a lot of people were expecting him to play like very little. I talked to some people that thought he was going to play like 40 games. I'm very curious to see where his totals end up at the end of the season. I'm thinking it's probably going to be lower than I thought. I was hoping for around 30. If Hughes plays shit tonight, we need to trade him for Brady Tkachuk. That will never happen. I don't understand what people don't get about the Hughes brothers. Essentially, the organization is fully committed to Jack and Luke Hughes for, Luke's going to get that next contract, and then there'll be what? At least 5 more years on Jack's or 4 years. Either way, neither one of the Hughes brothers is getting traded anytime soon. So when people mention this, I can't even allow my brain to even entertain it because it's just so far from reality that it's just not remotely a thing. And so it's hard for me to take that kind of stuff seriously. Jack's effort on defense was an embarrassment. Mercer got there but flubbed it on his mistake. Jack just watched on his. Yeah, Mercer I think was out there for a couple of them, kind of right there, and couldn't make the play. Jack is going to have to get more defensively responsible, and I'm imagining Keith's had some conversations with him about that. Every guy on the team has to tighten up in our own end and give an effort because that is the signature of a winning team. You can't have forwards just lollygagging and not partaking and back checking and playing defense because it's not going to fly, and I don't think Keith's going to allow it. I think they said in the broadcast that after overseas games, the teams come back with like 9-30. Yeah, I thought. Now I'm not sure. I'd like to look it up. I don't know how even you look this up, but yeah, Salvador either said it was 9 wins in 33 games or 9-33. But either way, the team coming back from the Global Series, their record is overwhelmingly terrible, and it all makes sense, right? It's a big event. You're doing all these press conferences, going to school, hanging out with kids, doing all this shit, touring the city or tourist stuff. The big game. We came from 2 wins. The group traveled back, then 5 days in between. It's just a lot. And for the 100th time, it's not to make an excuse, but the reality of all of that is the reality. And the team's coming back from its record speak for itself. And so, unfortunately, we were the latest team to come back and lose. I mean, it is. Utah, my understanding is going to, but they settled on it too late to get it all set up for the season next year. They probably what it will be. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, yeah, it is very interesting. Probably a merchandise scam. They sold millions of dollars of apparel this year, and then everyone's going to buy the new stuff next year when it's like the new logo. But it is pretty funny. It's funny, Wheelie. I didn't Wheelie. I swear I didn't even see your comment. That's hilarious. That was your next. Utah wants to sell merch a second time. Yeah, it's true. Inaugural season, you sell all that Utah Hockey Club stuff, and then you're like, oh, now we have a real team name. Everyone go back out and buy all your T-shirts and jerseys all over again. The Utah Hockey Club's new name for next year will be the Utah Blizzard. That's interesting. I didn't hear that. It's going to be Blizzard number 2. Devils aren't united. Jack didn't play catch with Timo. Damn it. That's funny. That I also have a video of warm-ups. People were saying that last time. I don't know if it was in the comment or if it was in the post game live stream. People were saying I do have a video of, if you look up the Jack Hughes warm-up video I have out there. At the end of that, you'll see, I guess, what everyone was referring to when all of them are on the ice. But I will say, I for at least last season, and I believe even the season before, Jack and Dawson have always kind of done that little thing they do where they flip pucks to each other and do one-timers at the end of practice. And so I honestly don't believe that's any sort of slight on Timo Meier. I just think that's kind of a little ritual that Jack and Dawson have, but I could be wrong. I don't know. Clayton Keller leaked it. It's Yeti. Yo, Ace, you excited they got pork roll, egg, cheese, the rock all season long? Yo, John, you're a hilarious guy. It's Taylor Ham. Get out of here with that pork roll. I did see that they had that, and I think they actually call it Taylor Ham / pork roll to try to please everybody. I will. I will try to do a little taste test on that at some point. I definitely will try to do a taste test on that at some point. Um, I'm curious to see how it is, but I've heard the food at the Rock has been terrible. Hold on 1 second. Hello? 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 Anyway, I will be checking that out. I also plan on venturing out to test some of the other food in the Rock. Um, Again, I've heard miserable reports and seen photos of like undercooked chicken and all kinds of stuff that doesn't seem too appealing. But I'm gonna get out there and maybe do a little food review video so everyone could get a realistic. I'll show the prices, what it looks like, do a little taste test. Sochi was 2018. It couldn't have been. Was it? Hold on. No, it was 2014. Got me thinking I'm crazy because I remember where I lived when I was watching it, and I was like, "There's no way." Yeah, Sochi was 14. I remember vividly where I was watching it, and I was like, "There's no way I was living uh, there in that year." Um, Hopefully they have a player set up on the opposite side of the net from the initial shooter for the open net rebounds. Yeah, we'd like to see them just get better in everything. Like to see him get better in anything. Like to see Timo get going. Honestly, I'd like to see Jack get a goal or two tonight. I really would. Obviously, it's not the end of the world, but it's now we're at game 4. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm very curious to see when he starts getting going, but if he stays healthy, I mean, you expect him to score around 40, so we'll see. Maybe it could be a down year. Maybe he's still hurt, but hopefully he looks better tonight than he did, the last game because um, didn't look great. Vancouver was 2010. That's when Langenbrunner was the captain of Team USA and Zach scored the goal in the gold medal game late to tie it up against Canada, and then Sid screwed us in overtime. Oh man, so close. America was so close, but I think Team USA is going to be sick in the 2026 Olympics. I'm hoping to be there in Italy. That's been a bucket list item of mine forever, to go to Italy and to see Olympic hockey, to be able to do both in one shot. Jack Hughes will be on the squad with, probably both Kachuk brothers, Austin Matthews. I mean, it is going to be a filthy, filthy team. Filthy, filthy team. Yeah, Pyeongchang. That was the jerseys were very weird that year. Didn't we break our horrible streak at Nashville's barn last year? This year we break our bad luck at Capitals. Yeah, we hadn't won in Nashville in like forever. Wilson is playing. You got any opinions on the Shesterkin deal and the idea that goalies should make more aren't worth the cost? Oh, rest in guitar face. You must be new to the channel, sir. I have an opinion on that, and I'll tell you right now. If I was a Ranger fan, I would think Shesterkin is the biggest piece of shit on the planet. I mean, listen, Swayman got 8.25 and Shesterkin turned down 11 million. We are in a cap league. If there was no cap, I'd say sure, Shesterkin, tell me you want 15, 16 million. God bless. But to turn down 11 million bucks, the biggest goalie contract of all time, and that much more than the next high guy is. Well, I guess Bobrovsky got 10, I think, but he banked that cup and kind of proved that the Panthers are right with that. But that's a lot of money for a goalie, and he is one of the best goalies in the league, obviously. But if you want to remain competitive, you cannot milk your franchise for every cent, and clearly he's doing that. I would love to know if he flat out gave them a number of what he wants. But 11 million bucks a year times 8 years, I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at, and I think a lot it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. I think. I mean, if we heard a report that our star player, let's just say Jack Hughes was, almost coming up on contract time, and the Devils offered him some pretty big contract that made him the highest paid at his position, and he turned it down. It's kind of one of these to the fans and the organization, in my opinion. And I hate when guys do that. The great Martin Brodeur negotiated his own contracts for years and years without an agent, always took less than he could have gotten elsewhere because he realized in the salary cap era that if I leave a little money on the table, that gives Lou Lamoriello some more money to go out there and sprinkle elsewhere to make this team as competitive as possible. And I want to win more than I want that extra $1 million or whatever it is. 3 cups. the great Martin Brodeur. Rempe didn't play in the Rangers' first game. Yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Rempe is the best. I don't know about that. Thing I hate about Jack is his turnovers. Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to have to adjust to be able to play without the puck on his stick as often as it is. I mean, he always has the puck on his stick, and often he tries to do a little too much, where it's an extra little deke or a little, dangle through guys. And sometimes I think he just has to simplify it and, get into position to score without having the puck the whole time. But that's probably the way he's played his entire life, I'd imagine. And it's going to be an adjustment period. Hopefully he kind of figures it out. But some of the turnovers are bad. But again, when a guy plays that many minutes and handles the puck as often as he does, you're unfortunately going to see that, as part of it. People trading the Hughes bros are the same people expect the team to go 82-0, possibly. Sometimes he just throws the puck to nobody in the middle of the ice. Ovechkin has like 3 points already. He's going to be our number one point getter. I don't know about that, but so far so good. Jonathan Ovechkin, what a steal by Fitz. And in a long list of acquisitions on the summer, that one definitely goes under the radar. And this guy is playing big minutes. He has a point a game on average. And he's going to make it hard for them to sit him. But I think when Pesce comes back, he's not going to have a choice, I think, until maybe someone else gets injured. But, a lot of people have been super harsh on Shimo Nemitz as of late. And I don't have to, I don't think he's been terrible, but people are brutal, So we'll see. I mean, there are situations where you could put a kid in the box for a couple of games and then kind of rotate. I'm curious to see, aside from Pesce and Luke coming back, when will be the first time we see a different defenseman inserted into the lineup and someone pushed out? I'm curious to see if that will happen at any point before Pesce and Luke come back. Utah Hockey Club name is better than Seattle Kraken. Well, the Kraken is like that octopus kind of thing. I don't know. I don't love the Kraken name, but their jerseys I think are fire. I love those colors. Some of my favorite colors. I think their jerseys are absolutely beautiful. Oh no. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so, Amagi. You're a pork roll guy too. My God. I get the idea of letting the guys on line 1 and 2 mesh, but I'm not sure these are the line pairings that I would choose. It's only game 4. I don't think they're going to change anything anytime soon. But if we struggle to score or we're not winning, I think you might see a switch. I'd be curious to see. It just scares me. We talked about this the last post game as well. I would like to see Dawson with Jack and Brader. I just feel like they're a little undersized and they might get punished. But I'd be curious to see it. I think that could be an interesting line. And then you drop Timo with Nico and Tatar. I mean, we'll see. We will see. We would like to take the cellular interruption to shout out our sponsor, RWJ Barnabas Health. There are cancer centers and NCI designated cancer centers. Oh, man. RWJ Barnabas Health, guys. What are you talking about? Kraken is a banger name. I'm on the fence about the name, but the jerseys are sick. Igor doesn't want to get stuck on the rags for 8 more years. I mean, maybe not. As a Russian dude, I'd imagine New York is probably one of the more preferable markets for him. And there is potential marketing and deals and other things to be made outside of on the ice. But maybe he doesn't like it there. I don't know. I'd imagine he does want to be there, but maybe he doesn't. But how many teams are going to be looking to pay a goalie $12 million plus? I mean, that is a big percentage of the cap, even with the cap going up. Forwards make more in general. Isn't there an argument for goalies being more valuable? Of course, you can make the argument for that. You absolutely can. However, my argument's going to be if there's a precedent across the board of like top tier goalies making this range, let's call the range. Let's even call it $7 to $10 million, right? That's pretty much the band for top end goalies. He's now looking to go. Not 11 million is not good enough. He's now trying to kick it up beyond that. I don't know that he's given a number. I haven't followed this that closely. I just saw, the headlines that came out when Weekly reported he turned down the 8 years, 11 mil each. But it's like, how much does this guy want? Did he want 12 and a half, 13 million? Like, it's a little bit crazy to me. Um, and it's going to be an interesting thing to see how that plays out. I think the fan base is going to end up hating him. Marty understood if you want as a player, he'll make the millions later. Yeah, praying he doesn't decide to revolve. So am I. I just want to see. I just want to see a heavier, edgier, more violent performance from puck drop. See the team be more responsible in our own end. Hopefully, get the power play humming real nice. I agree, but if Igor wants out of New York, isn't there a better way of going about it than turning down 11 million? He's going to strap any team he's on. Yeah, that's what I just said. Essentially, no matter who's paying you, unless you're a team kind of about to hit your stride where you have a ton of really good guys on entry level contracts, it's going to be hard to play for a true contender that's going to be able to afford that kind of money, depending on what he's asking for. That's a shitload of money. Over 11 million bucks. Tonight, the Devils need to bounce back and win. Could not agree more. PLD is such a weird story. He forced his way out of Columbus into a great situation with Winnipeg. Then he forced himself out of there too. It might have forced his way out of the league now. There's some guys that are head cases, or for whatever reason, you never know. There's always extenuating circumstances. Maybe he didn't get along with the coach. Maybe it was someone in management. Maybe he didn't like the air. So many things that go into it. It's hard to really narrow it down and pinpoint exactly what the deal is. But there's obviously guys that seem to have issues wherever they go. In every sport, right? Like Kyrie or in the NBA, like that guy. I think he's finally settled down with Dallas. But there was a string where like every fan base of the teams he went to kind of ended up hating him. Cotter replacing Pla on the third line. Yes, he is. I predicted this from before the season, really. Cotter just has too much potential to waste on that meat line. Even though I love the meat line as a unit, I think when you have a guy like that, you got to give him, more minutes and give him a better opportunity to truly thrive because, yeah, he could perform on the fourth line, but he will be better serving the Devils on the third line or above. A great example of just stop picking at it. To be honest, Siegenthaler I like the least on D. That's probably most people, I'd imagine, at this point. From the outside looking in, I think PLD got caught up in the grass is always greener syndrome. Yeah, a lot of guys do think that. Like, oh, it's always better somewhere else until you get there and you're like, it turns out I'm not happy here too. Maybe he's just a miserable guy. Either way, let's hope he does nothing tonight. PLD will never win anything. He has a rep as a sandbagger for a reason. You guys and your Taylor hams and pizzas, how about some poutine, eh? I had some in Montreal. It was pretty damn good. I went on a road trip to Montreal a while back. Wow, it was a really long time ago at this point. I think it was in the winter. Igor wants the money because he knows those bozos aren't getting him a cup. You never know. I mean, if he's on top of his game, I could see the Rangers, making another good run. I would love another Devils Rangers Eastern Conference Final and then beat them in another Eastern Conference Final to go to the Cup. Oh my God! If we play the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Finals, or really at any point in the playoffs, it'll be absolutely insane. But obviously, the Eastern Conference Finals is the highest stake it can be, and picks it up to a whole nother level. But at Devils Rangers, the next Devils Rangers playoff series will definitely have just a lot of theatrics and a lot of excitement surrounding it. I hope Igor demands 15, but probably he's getting 12 and a half. Yeah, wild, man. These people are just wow. The Rangers fumbled the cup opportunity with their botched development of Kako and to some extent Laugh too. I'll tell you what, Lafreniere developed into a much better player than I thought he was going to be. He had a pretty good year last year, and I think he's going to be a good player. For a minute, it looked like he might be close to a bust, but he's a pretty damn good player. So they lucked out that that he got it together because it could have been a couple bad picks for them where it'd be set your franchise back. If you whiff on two picks like that, that could really hurt. I'm just trying to see if Amanda Stein has anything out here. Oh, so she's out of the loop. Okay. Hold on. Let's just see if we could Markstrom confirmed starting tonight. I was never questioning that. Yeah, McDermott wasn't in one of the lines in the morning skate. He was taking reps with defensemen, so I'd imagine that we're not gonna see McDermott, unfortunately. I hope he demands 13 million and handcuffs the Rags. I can see it happening, and I think at that point, they're gonna have to pay him. I mean, how do you not? I mean, he is really good. It's unfortunate that he's this greedy, but Lath not being on top power play still is criminal. I mean, Igor is one of 2 Rangers that show up in the playoffs, and he drags him on his back. He knows he can milk the all great New York Rangers. I mean, it's true. He's clearly their most valuable player. I mean, there's no debate about it. And so I don't know what the Rangers, management can really say other than you're looking to be paid so much more than the other guys in net. Um, and maybe someone should explain to him like that couple extra million or whatever it is a year, a million, million five. Like we're gonna lose the ability to put a competitive team around you. But the sad part is, I hate to say this, guys, I think a lot of modern athletes don't even give a shit about winning, man. I mean, yeah, they wanna have decent regular seasons and stats, but when it comes to championships, yeah, sure, they wanna win, but they don't wanna win to the level of former guys that left money on the table. Like, I don't think many modern athletes are doing that, and clearly you're seeing it here with Shesterkin. He's like, "Pay me." Well, that extra money is gonna come at the cost of the best possible around you. I like Rangers are good. It makes the best rivalry in hockey all the better. Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. Some of those Devils Rangers mid-90s regular season and playoff we played them in the playoffs in '97. Just epic battles. Epic battles with just great players on both sides. It was just such a the rivalry was so much better then. I now for a while it kinda sucked, and I do think with Rempe and the line brawl and everything that happened last year, it's kind of on its way back to being like a really good rivalry, but obviously the teams both being very good adds another whole layer to it, and that's when it's at its all-time best. Have good guys on both sides, have the physical guys on both sides, and when both teams are doing well, it just makes it that much better. I agree there wholeheartedly. Hey, Ace from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. McDermott tonight. Unfortunately, I do not think so. I was looking at Catherine Bogart posted the lines at the morning skate, and it seemed like McDermott was taking reps with defensemen. So if I was a betting man, I would say he unfortunately will not be in the lineup tonight, but you never know. You never know. Maybe someone gets an intuition like, "Oh, Wilson's gonna play. Maybe we'll have to dress him." But it seems like he's not gonna play. If I had to guess, Rangers are getting old now. Windows closing. They have a lot of term on their guys still. I still think they could potentially win for the next maybe 2 years. They are definitely starting to phase out of being a true contender, but they still have a lot of good guys. And as long as they have Shesterkin, honestly, you can never count them out. He really is that good. Shesterkin is an absolute game changer. One of the best moments from the 2012 run was DeBoer and Torts screaming across the benches at each other. That was completely awesome. You love to see it. I actually think was that in the I thought that was the regular season line brawl. I don't think that was actually in the playoffs. Um, I'm trying to see. I'm just checking something out here. Oh no, they yelled at each other in the playoffs too. Okay, yeah, there was a few rounds of that. Yeah, DeBoer and Torts getting fired up. Yeah, that was great. The rivalry was awesome then too. And Mike Rupp shoved Marty. I actually was busting Mike Rupp chops about that when I saw him a month or two ago. It's pretty funny. Must-win game for the Bulls. I'm gonna say it's not a must-win, but it's a we would really like to win. And nothing's a must-win until it's a must-win. So if you're talking about a game 7 or if you lose this game, you're eliminated from the playoffs. Those are must-wins. This is a we would really like to win, but it's definitely not a must-win. The Rangers' best chance to win was this past year. There were a few issues, but Panarin completely disappeared versus Florida. Yeah, I mean, maybe. I still think they're going to be competitive for the next couple of years. Max Windows is rapidly closing in on winning the next 2 years. They're cooked for a decade. mean, I don't know about Cook, but, if they don't win in the next 2 years, obviously, it's going to, their best chance is pretty much now, right? As opposed to in the future. They should be a win now team. Your mic is cutting out a bit. Hopefully, it's not anymore. You guys notice how many people were at the Rock in Rags gear? Gotta make them feel uncomfortable. Army, are you talking about at the home opener with the Leafs, or are you talking about at Devils Rangers? Speaking of athletes not wanting to leave money on the table, that Crosby deal, though. Yeah, Sid has always been a team guy, and it's crazy that at $8.7 million, that represents like a substantial discount on the open market because of his marketability and what he's meant to the game of hockey and his solidified position as an all-time great already. I believe a team would have probably offered him 12 million bucks or more um, on the open market. So while that would be a little bit of an overpayment based on his actual production, you can't calculate what Sid would do going to another team in terms of financials, in terms of marketing, exposure, merchandise. Um, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised maybe someone even offered him more than that because of those things I just described. But shout out to Sid wanting to retire a Pen and be a Penguin his entire career, and even money on the table to do so. Not a big Sid fan, but he left money on the table to stay with the Pens. I mean, Sid is just such a legend of the game. I know a lot of people hate on him. I like Sid. There's been no better ambassador for the sport of hockey over the last 15, really almost 20 years now. My God, he made his NHL debut the same game. He actually made his NHL debut in New Jersey the same night that Zach Parise did. I have a great Sidney Crosby debut story. I might make a video. I have so many ideas for videos in my head. I just don't know what people care to watch or not. So sometimes I just put out videos and people are like, "Oh, we don't care," type of thing. But I have a really cool, Sidney Crosby debut story that I might do a video on. But yeah, he's been so good for so long. It's crazy. Schneider, Fox, and Truba are the only demon on the Rangers that won't need a contract plus Lafreniere. Listen, we all know they their best chance of winning, like everyone pointed out, is this year or next. And once it starts to go beyond that, then it's going to be harder for them. Hey, the team better show up tonight. Oh, I hope so. I think they will. What teams do you think will see a Dermott deployment? I'd imagine it's tough because I forget what I have to look at, like if there's been any changes in the offseason, but like I'd imagine for sure Rangers, imagine for sure Flyers, um, any other teams that have a heavyweight that gets frisky probably. But yeah, I would like to see him out there. And the other thing I like about seeing him out there is that they kind of not maybe not exactly double shift Jack, but when McDermott played in that second game in Buffalo, Jack was getting some extra ice time flying around, and I always think if you got young horses that could do it, let them play. So I also like that angle of McDermott being the lineup that you're going to probably see Jack get even more minutes than he normally does. But hopefully he gets back to what he looked like at his peak of last year, and not this kind of potentially still injured version of Jack. But that's another kind of cool thing about the McDermott games too. Do you think Jack Brat team will stick together all season? Faceoff circle is kind of weak for that line. I don't think they will. I could see it end up being like the final line that we go into the playoffs with. Knock on wood, but I do think we will at some point at least tinker with changing it up just to see. But I don't know that it'll stick, and I could see the Jack Brat team line kind of being the permanent line for the playoffs. But we'll see. Torts is one of my favorite hockey people to hate. I always say I agree too. It's like a guy. It's basically a guy you love to hate, but you would love to have him. I've wanted Torts as a coach for a while. I just like the no bullshit, no nonsense guys. He wears his heart on his sleeve. Obviously, trying to fight other coaches through the bench. He had that incident. I think it was I forget what team was it when he was with the Rangers. He tried to fight the old Vancouver Canucks team in the locker room, I think. But hilarious clip if you've never seen it. How about a Hughes must play good game? Yeah, looking for a big bounce back game from Jack. Unfortunately, I think he might be hurt. I hope he's not, but I think he could be. Torts is like the Devils' boogeyman series. Then he goes to the Rangers. Then we got a break when he was in Vancouver. Under him, CBJ always roasted us, and now he's in Philly. Yeah. Rough more. He fights break custody screaming at each other. So sad that was muted. It's probably because he was dropping F bombs and what was that with Pierre Meyer, like right there with the mic? They're probably like, nah, you got to cut this. going to get fined by the FCC. I remember that game we won 5-1. I was there. Sid was a bit of a punk in his first couple seasons, but he's matured a ton. He's a great ambassador for the game. He's absolutely earned his place on the all-timers list. Couldn't agree more. Marshawn for a discount next year. He's a free agent. I don't think he's going to leave Boston. I believe he will definitely stay in Boston. We'll be curious to see what kind of money he wants. Schwartz tried to fight the Flames coach when he was coaching the Canucks. Jack Bratton team will need to get going so they could get a line name. It's interesting. I didn't think about that. Jack Bratton team, though. When Jack and Brad are peanut butter and jelly, if you remember that. And I have said at points last year that I do like Jack and Brad together because I do think they are two most, offensively gifted guys that if you watch, the goals that they've been involved in with each other, they are some highlight reel stuff. But you could also make the argument that if you split them up, you kind of, diversify the offense through more lines. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they stick together. I think we're going to at least see an experiment of something else, but you might settle back on that. I feel like the era for Torts would have been right after the Devils had moved into the Rock from like 2007 to that 2012 era. That team would have responded very well to him. I mean, that team was much more experienced and had more veterans on it at that point. You had, well, I mean, I guess it depends what end of the spectrum you're talking about, but, towards the end of it, guys like Patty and Zajac and Parisi, Langenbrunner, Sal. Yeah, I think that group would have been more, Torts friendly, if you will, than like the team today. I think if Torts was named the head coach over the summer, I think some of our guys would have probably been very nervous. Despite being a guy that you love to hate, he's a really good dude who donates money to animal charities all the time. No, I believe that, and I really liked what he did with, Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau's father. He had them at several practices and all that stuff. So, yeah, he definitely seems like a good guy when he's not being a jerk. I was referring to the home opener anyway. Why isn't Timo back on the right wing? I think he's moved back. I mean, it seems like quite often during gameplay he drives up that side anyway. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Yeah, Torts. It starts with him yelling "F you" and then it's muted there. He knew lines were coming. Peanut butter jelly Timo time. I remember when they released that overpriced peanut butter jelly sandwich at the Rock. TB and J. Interesting. Do you think Nemit's struggles, sophomore slumps, come from raised expectations as opposed to his play being a pleasant surprise last year? He's really struggled. It's probably just, maybe Keith's asking him to do something differently. New season, new coach, new system. Maybe it's just, it could just be, early season jitters. Who knows? I think he'll be fine. I think he's going to be a phenomenal defenseman. Timo butter and jelly. Schwartz comes off as a guy who, if I bumped into him at a bar, I'd love him. If I bumped into him at the rink, I'd want to fight. Yeah, couldn't agree more. All right, fellas, that's my time. The pregame show is coming on momentarily. Enjoy the game. Let's go Devils. I will be back with the post-game live at 10:15-ish. And hopefully the boys respond, and hopefully we get that big win and the 2 points tonight. I will see you all soon. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.